the last, be the first to blast. Remember Cato, no longer with us, see deceits. Call on the sirens, seen them murdered in the streets. Now rest in peace. Is there heaven for a G? Remember me, so many homies in the cemetery shed so many tears. I suffered through the years and shed so many tears. Lord, I lost so many kids and shed so many tears.
What's happening, my brothers and sisters? This is Percy Brown Jr. with Real Talk, coming at you all the way live in about 5 minutes, that is. So let's get down to the biz. You heard Tupac with his song So Many Tears, and I wanted you to hear a little bit of So Many Tears because Pac is talking about the oppression that black people have experienced for 398 years in this country. But I wanted to use that song to get at and push back on Dez Bryant with his Instagram post last week. So I'm going to go ahead and get into that and really break it down for Dez and the rest of the folks that are thinking along the lines of Dez Bryant. So Dez last week put something out there on social media where he quoted Charles Barkley. And Charles Barkley said this about the experiences of black people. We as black people, we are never going to be successful, not because of you white people, but because of other black people. And Dez Bryant came back and said, I hate to admit it, but I understand that quote. Dez Bryant goes on to also say that instead of making videos about the history of racism that get applause or people with influence merely doing things to post for social media, we should focus on individual accountability to be better as a whole. This is what Dez Bryant put out there to the world. And I said, I'm here to say this to Dez. I totally understand where you're coming from. But young Dez, you cannot not acknowledge the history and the experiences of black people in this country. So yes, we are still living in oppressive conditions. But let me tell you some things about history, Dez Bryant. And maybe you will think again, instead of just saying it's about personal accountability, let's think about what has been put in place to create the conditions that we live in today. First off, yes, I'm going to hit you with slavery. Black people were enslaved in this country for nearly 240 plus years. Now let me tell you a little bit about slavery when it comes down to economics. In today's dollar, the price tag on 240 plus years of slavery is estimated between $5 and $14 trillion. And Dez, has the United States of America's federal government invested any amount of that money into the upliftment and betterment of our community? I would probably say no. Let's talk about westward expansion, Dez Bryant, and the federal government giving away millions of acres of farmland to white Americans only. And to add to that, they also subsidize for white farmers. So that was the federal government providing entitlements to white people, but were excluding black people. Now, let me take you a little bit further. European immigration, young Dez Bryant and anybody else who likes to align their beliefs to personal accountability. European immigration in the 1920s came through the period of the Industrial Revolution. That is when there were plentiful jobs in the United States of America, but because our federal government did not want to give jobs to the millions of blacks, which were second generation freed slaves in this country, they decided to bring over more folks that look like them to take those jobs and to keep us in oppressive conditions. And I'm going to hit you with one more thing, Dez Bryant and the rest of America who wants to applaud Dez Bryant for saying, yes, it's about personal accountability for black people. In the 1930s and 40s, you had the Federal Housing Authority, which created the middle class in America through home ownership. The federal government backed about $1.2 billion in low interest rate home loans. And you know what? Blacks were excluded from that. Even blacks that went and fought in World War II, when they came back with the GI Bill, they were not afforded those opportunities. But I'm here to tell you, yes, you know what? There is a thing called personal accountability that needs to take place in the black community. But it also needs to be about black people and group economics, because that's the bottom line. Because you know what? There were 3 great black Americans who talked about black economics. Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, and Dr. King all talked about black economics. But you know what? It's about us, It's not about the I, it's about you and I. It's about group, collective, and community responsibility if we want to end our systemic oppression. It's time to nation build, my brothers and sisters. And if we want to save our community and each of us, we need the LeBron James to the brother selling dime bags in the streets to come together. Because you know what? The federal government for 398 years has neglected us. And we can't continue to wait on the white community, the Latino community, or the feminist movement to bring about the change that we want to see in our community, brothers and sisters. It's about you and I, but I can tell you that there probably will be white people. There will be women, Latinos, and Asians that will join in the struggle and the fight to end our oppression, but it begins with you and I, and not just I with personal accountability. So that's what I have for you, Dez Bryant. That's what I have for the rest of America. And until next time, my brothers and sisters, peace, be the change that you want to see, and Godspeed to the change that we want to see. Peace out.